It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello, and thanks for sitting down with us. This is our 8th episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast, and I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt, here with my good friend, Corey Knudsen.
Hey.
As we get ready to talk about all things movies. Tonight, as usual, we'll be discussing various topics, including what films we've seen lately, what movies are on the horizon, a little update on some physical media releases, which there isn't many, and some current developments in the world of movies. But first, Corey, it's getting to be that time, almost Christmas time here. How have you been? And also, secondly, what are we drinking today?
Doing great. Just pounded down a Mick Ultra.
Yeah.
About to rip into a, what is this called? LakeState Lager. Little, oh god, it's foaming to get.
You are so bad at opening these when we start recording.
You, man. There's no way to control this shit, man.
I've noticed that, like, every time I get a local brew, though, and I'll try and crack it, it'll just fucking froth out the sides.
I gotta
like,
give it a
it's
second.
everywhere.
It's just, I can't, there's, the tab
That is a
enclosed.
creamy top you got there.
This shit's wild. It is out of Dual Citizen Brewing Company out of St. Paul. I'm gonna, let me try it.
Yeah,
Hold
you got
on.
a frothy top there.
It's like that little ASMR of me slurping the creamy top.
Oh, it's on your fucking, you got something on your cum stash, bro.
Nice.
Oh, that is bad. Anyway, while he tries to...
Oh, that's good.
You like it. Okay, it's gonna have to grow on me. It's very hoppy, you know? And it's very, like, sweet. Like, it tastes like honey. I don't know. It's gonna have to work on me a little bit. I'm sure the more I drink of it, the better it's gonna taste, as most beers typically work for me. At least, I am trying to continue trying IPAs, too. So, you know, whatever. I try. I don't like disliking things. I need to try and make myself like something.
Can is cool.
Can is cool. Sweet
like
design.
Give it a shot.
I'm working on it.
I like it.
Anyways, talking about what we've seen lately, this past week, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This blue little fucker is running fast for a third time. Directed by Jeff Fowler. You might know him for directing Sonic 1 and 2. Well, crazy. This film stars Ben Schwartz, Jim Carrey twice, Idris Elba, and Keanu Reeves. I'm not going to read the synopsis just because it's Sonic 3. It's fucking Sonic again.
You know what he's doing.
Yeah. Him, Knuckles, and Tails are just fucking shit up again. The movie starts with them out in the woods, and they're just kind of having a little road trip, like, Happy Earth Day, because it's the day Sonic came to Earth, and, I don't know, a little birthday celebration, and whatever shit hits the fan, and then Shadow shows up because government stuff. I don't know. It's a pretty loose storyline, but it's, I don't know, it's a very fun enough time, I'd say, for this time of year to get families into the theaters. I actually really enjoyed it. I feel like the way I'm describing it now makes me sound like I didn't like it. I actually had a decent enough time in the theater. I saw it at 3 p.m. on a Thursday. There was a special fan event screening that I went to, so I got a Michelob Ultra and a large fucking bucket of corn and sat down in the back row. And apparently, yeah, I didn't know it was a fan screening, and then just people started chirping, just howling at this fucking movie. Because, like, I've played Sonic games before in the past. They're fun enough, but after a while it gets boring kind of making this fast guy run fast. Like, all right, you're already doing it. I just have to put the fucking controller moving to the right, and you're going to book it, buddy. But anyway, apparently some people just have a massive hard-on for this blue hedgehog, which, good for them. Love it. But watching this movie, I just kept hearing that, and it didn't upset me. It was more just, like, bewilderment of, like, is this movie, like,
Sonic?
really?
Really?
Yeah, like, this is really your shit? Like, this is it? But whatever. I'm not going to sit here and shit on something that people love. But, yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It might be my favorite of the 3 Sonic films. It has the most memorable action, I think. The humor in all 3 of these films hasn't really worked for me. It worked for some of those people that were in love with Sonic. They were howling the entire time, but I don't know. It feels a little too, like, it's geared definitely towards a younger audience. I don't know. Some of the jokes just feel juvenile. It didn't really make me laugh. I loved seeing Jim Carrey in dual roles. I grew up with Jim Carrey. Fucking love him and Me, Myself, and Irene, Batman Forever, The Mask. Literally anything he's in is some of my favorite shit I've ever seen. But before I talk too much about this movie, Corey, what is your anticipation like for Sonic the Hedgehog 3? And have you seen the first 2?
I have seen the first 2. Surprised by the first 2. I think we both share that sentiment. After all the way back in whatever, 2019 maybe, when they released that first trailer of the weird-looking Sonic.
Yep.
And one of the... one of the few times that like an online petition worked, actually, of fans being like, no,
Please
don't make it look like, just make him look like he did.
Why is he so frumpy looking? Why does he look like a fucking millennial in skinny jeans?
Why does it look like his skin is stretched really tightly?
Why does he have human teeth?
Over his thing? Yeah, it's weird. And then they actually changed it, and it looks good. And that was kind of exciting. That was a big thing for a while. So, yeah, I've enjoyed the first two, and I plan on seeing this one on Monday. But yeah, like you said, like I know what to expect with this movie. I'm going in expecting some fun action and probably some good animation from these characters. Like the animation on all the characters looks really good, integrated with the human characters and human environments.
The CGI, like, it's flawless the entire time. You never like second guess it, which is it's crazy because you kind of take it for granted. Like you see James Marsden right next to Sonic a couple of times, which sidetrack. One of the benefits this movie, or one of the advantages this film has over the previous two, is they really kind of sidetrack the human subplots, the human characters. The only human characters in this movie are Jim Carrey's Egghead. I forget what his fucking name is even. Eggman, but he has a fucking full name. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. Eggman.
Dr. Robotnik.
Robotnik, that's it. Thank you. Oh my god, I saw the movie. But so they really like strip it down because. From what I remember of Sonic 2, because I've only seen 2.5 of these movies. I fell asleep watching Sonic 2 in theaters just because I was really liquored up. But from what I remember, there was like a Hawaii subplot that they kept cutting away from.
There's a whole wedding in the second one that was a big part of the third act, and you're like, can we just like get back to the Sonic stuff, kind of?
And I fell asleep watching that movie in theaters, and I woke up and I was like, oh, Shadow's here. It was like the post-credit or when Shadow shows up at the end of the two, and they're like, oh, Shadow! Like, holy shit! And it's like, oh, okay. Sweet. I guess there's going to be another one. But, yeah, this movie kind of pushes the human characters aside. CGI looks great. Action is probably, like I said, the best in the series so far. They are going to continue on to a fourth. They did just announce production on a fourth film, which they do kind of lead into in those post-credit scenes that were kind of heavily like, oh, you need to stick around for the post-credit scenes, which they are cool. Like I said, those people that were howling, oh my god, one of their friends started leaving before the first post-credit scene. Michael, it's not on. Michael, get back in here. Michael, you're going to miss it. Holy fuck! Oh my god! Just yelling the entire time. Which, like, you know what? Happy you're this excited in a Sonic movie. They were losing their shit. And it was, it was a decent enough post-credit scene. I will likely continue seeing these movies in theaters. I liked this one enough. Yeah, I fell asleep during the second one, but I don't really hold that against it. I was just drunk and tired. And Sonic 1 I have, like, nostalgia for just because when it came out. Kind of right in that like COVID
pandemic,
pandemic time when it's like I just need a movie to watch, and fuck, I heard the Sonic movie's not that bad, and I actually really enjoyed it. So, yeah, I'd recommend it. It's a good family movie. Like I said, the humor doesn't always work, but it's a good enough time at the theaters. And I don't know, like what you said, where you know what you're gonna get out of it. If you like the first two, you're gonna like or love this one. So yeah, Sonic 3. I don't know. I'd recommend it to just about anyone. It's a good enough time at the theaters, especially if you have a large corn and a Michelob Ultra and a bunch of sweaties yelling about a fucking hedgehog. Corey, what'd you watch this week?
Yeah, I was doing a little Christmas movie watch, and I actually haven't watched as many Christmas movies as I thought I would, but it's one that I think you talked about last week, Jingle All the Way, which is a must-watch for anybody living in Minnesota. Obviously filmed in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, which is always cool to see. You see like Mall of America, you see like 7th Street, they're outside of some stores
Mickey's.
There. Yeah, you see Mickey's Diner, which is great. And I think you kind of talked about this movie last week and the plot and all that. I just want to shout out some other things that I love about this movie. Phil Hartman as the neighbor, Ted. He is
creepy as fuck.
So fucking funny when he is just like inside of Arnold Schwarzenegger's house making cookies with his wife. And he's just like, why don't you go upstairs and get ready? I'll finish making cookies for the kids, and I'll watch over them here. And then Arnold calls him, and he's like, "Hey, Howard, I'm here." And he's like, "Where's my wife?" He's like, she's in the shower. You want me to go check on her?
Oh God, these cookies!
And, oh my God, it's so funny. And he's just such a greasy little neighbor that's trying to hit on all the neighborhood women.
Oh, he's pulling shit too. Because like, there's that scene where like all the women around town, they're like, "Hey, could you come over and like help me fix my back porch?" And it's just like, "Oh yeah, I could do that." next week.
yeah.
Just shit like that. It's just like, this dude's fucking pulling.
He's
got
every woman in the
ass
neighborhood
lined
is just
up. Yeah.
lined up. Yeah, it's so funny. I love him. And then also, I love the sequence of Arnold Schwarzenegger punching a reindeer in Ted's house. And then
As the house is like starting on fire?
Yeah, as it started on fire. And then probably like 3 minutes later, Arnold Schwarzenegger is pouring grain belt into a food dish for the reindeer, and they're just like drinking outside. And that's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
If you explain that to anyone, they're like, what the fuck is... Like,
Yeah, and just having it be like a Minnesota-based beer too. I'm like, this is great. I love this. And then the parade sequence at the end with the whole Turbo Man setup is so much fun. Sinbad like fucking shooting down and his whole thing. Like, it's such an enjoyable movie.
Yeah, it's so enjoyable. The pacing, it's just it's so fast.
It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, and it
Perfect.
moves. It moves. I will say, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. It might have been on our Christmas specific episode where I brought it up. A family friend of mine actually did sit down and watch this for the first time with her husband, and her husband enjoyed it, at least I think. She did not. She texted me and she was like, Mason, Jingle All the Way. What the fuck? And I was like, oh, what? She's like, the movie sucks. And I was like, whoa. A lot of hostility here.
Whoa.
But, you know, it might not be for everyone. This is a movie I'm very nostalgic for. I love this movie. I have to watch this movie like 5 times a year, even not around Christmas. Just like, I'll watch it in fucking May.
I was looking at just some reviews for the heck of it, just like kind of when it came out.
It kind of got dogged on, didn't it?
It did, and like a lot of critics were talking about just kind of the I don't know, like the capitalism of it, of like the idea of trying to go out and making the movie about getting this toy, you know, that idea of like how Christmas is like a negative thing and portraying some of those negative elements of it, and that's never bothered me. I don't.
No, and I think that it's a relatable thing,
It is.
especially now. It's almost satirical and like, yeah, people just fighting over a fucking piece of plastic. Like, even though the Turbo Man action figure is sick as shit.
Always wanted one.
Always wanted one. And that suit that he wears at the end, I want a movie of that.
Also,
of just Turbo Man.
Jake Lloyd in this movie, who played young Anakin Skywalker in Phantom Menace, his room in the movie
Sick.
is great. He has like a Marvel wall. I think Captain America's on it.
Yep,
He's
Captain
got
on
like a
it.
Fantastic Four like bedspread, I think, and it's just the coolest fucking room.
It's such a cool room. Honestly, I think his performance in this movie is maybe better than Phantom Menace. It's less wooden, and like I think he's just an adorable kid, which it's weird to say now because this man is older than me. And he exists in the world. He's been to jail. He has fucking. He's served his nickel. Like he's been here for longer than I have. But in the movie, he's so adorable and just cute. And like I really want this kid to get this toy. So I don't know. It's always just. It's a movie that's always worked for me. It's so much fun. Jake Lloyd is actually good in this movie. I don't hate on him in the Phantom Menace, but I know a lot of people do. But there's no part of this movie that's a misstep, I guess, for me.
No, definitely watch it if you haven't seen it. It's so much fun. It's a good watch with the family. It's a great time.
And I watch it with the biggest group you possibly can, because if you don't like it, maybe someone will. Because apparently some people don't like this movie, which is fine. All film is subjective, but I fucking love Jingle All the Way. Moving on until earlier today, I did catch up on the Netflix-released Carry On, which is directed by Wame Colette Sarah. I think that's right. I don't really know how else to pronounce it. Thumbs up from Corey. I'm good to go. Starring Taron Egerton, Jason Bateman, Daniel Deadweiler, Sophia Carson. It's a pretty stacked cast. I think... Is it Logan Marshall Green? The guy that looks like Tom Hardy that isn't from Upgrade. Logan Marshall Green. He's in it for a small bit. The synopsis, I don't know if we really talked about it on this show, so I'll read a synopsis here. It's a mysterious traveler blackmails a young TSA agent into letting a dangerous package slip through security and onto a Christmas Eve flight. It's kind of... It came out at the perfect time, which I know that they definitely had to plan for because it's set in Christmas. Everyone's traveling this time of year to go see family. And I don't know, Wame has this desire to tell kind of contained stories about a character put in a stressful situation in an almost isolated environment where they have only themselves to rely on, similar to his film The Shallows, similar to Non-Stop, which is another airline plane movie with Liam Neeson, which I actually really enjoy. This movie is really pretty fun. It's a pretty solid thriller. Jason Bateman, every time he's on screen, I'm like, fuck, this dude might be one of my favorite actors working today. He's awesome. He steals every scene he's in. I'm so happy his voice, because he sends an earpiece to Taron Egerton's character, so you hear Jason Bateman in Taron Egerton's ear the entire time, and every time you hear his voice, I'm like, God, I fucking love this guy. He's so good. Everyone gives good performances. It's my only big complaint from the movie is it's 2 hours, and it feels like the premise doesn't support that runtime. It gets past like the first 45 minutes, then it kind of runs out of this synopsis I really read to you, and it has to keep kind of throwing in different twists and turns to try and make this story continue happening and not have this bad guy get caught or this package to get stopped or what, like for the film to wrap up basically. And every kind of turn or twist that they threw into it almost made it stretch further and like really stretch credibility to the point where I'm like, this wouldn't happen. This doesn't, I don't believe this. The movie looks great, and it's pretty contained within this airport, so it's really hard to fuck up anything in there. There is a car chase scene, or car accident scene. I don't know how to explain it. The camera work and the CGI of it is some of the most baffling shit. I watched that part twice, because I was like, whoa, this is what you guys decide. Like, it is a straight-to-streaming release, but, like, this is what you put out? I might show it to you after we actually finish recording, just because I want to see your reaction when watching it. Corey, you haven't seen it. Are you going to watch Carry On? I heard a lot about it. My brother, who I don't even know if he saw the movie, he's like, you should review this movie. I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll watch it. I have time. Corey, Carry On. Have you watched it? Are you going to watch it?
I've not seen it yet, but I do like these kind of movies, though. And Wame Colette-Serra has gotten into this kind of like mid-range like movies that are pretty solid and good, and some of them are like contained thrillers.
Yeah.
But then he, like, one of his first movies is Orphan, which I really like that movie. I think it's a great horror movie. And then he does something like Black Adam, and you're like, okay, I guess.
Which, I mean, we went into Black Adam
fun.
similar to the way we went into Craven. Liquored in.
I had a double gin and tonic.
Yeah, double gin and tonic,
Oh,
double
Lord.
rum and coke, just ready for that movie to be decent. And it was like, I don't think
fine.
I've seen a movie by him that I haven't like at least enjoyed parts of, or like I like most of his movies. Most of his movies, like
Shallows
you said, are pretty
is good.
decent thrillers.
Nonstop I really enjoy. So it's like, I feel like it's a perfect water cooler movie of you're at work and be like, oh, did you see the new Netflix movie?
Yeah.
You talk about it for that week of everyone's at home for Christmas. It takes place on Christmas Eve. So you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like you'll talk about it for a bit and then you kind of forget about it or whatever. But I will watch it. In this next week, I plan on starting a free trial of Netflix, mainly because there's some football games on Christmas Day that I want to watch, which I hate that already.
Yeah, I don't.
But then I also want to watch a lot of the award season movies, like Amelia Perez and Piano Lesson and all those other ones.
You're going to make that this time of year.
Yeah,
That's what you're going to try.
So I'm going to do a
get
stretch
through
of
those.
watching all those. I think Carry On will be one of them, just because I enjoy the director and I like Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman. So
it's a good enough thriller. I really like Nonstop. He did like a string of Liam Neeson movies. I know he did Unknown, Run All Night, and then Nonstop. Well, not in that order, but Nonstop as well. Which Nonstop I actually really enjoyed. That was a thriller I saw in theaters with no expectations. And I was like, oh fuck, I was pleasantly surprised by it. Similar to this. The marketing I saw of Carry On was like, oh, it's this year's Die Hard, which like.
yeah, a lot of people have been saying that. I'm like, let's relax.
Nothing's as good as Die Hard. Violent Night is honestly the closest in terms of like Christmas and Die Hard storytelling. Well, I'm like where that marriage kind of works. But nothing's gonna touch Die Hard. Carry On. It's a good enough action thriller. It overstays its welcome in parts and kind of stretches credibility. But Jason Bateman is just godsend. That man is amazing. Anything he does, I am willing to watch. Daniel Deadweiler, amazing in this movie. Taron Egerton, he was good. Like any basic white dude could have played his role. Anyone could have played his role. I don't know. But he was good enough. I would recommend it. It is on Netflix, so it is pretty easy to recommend and easy to access. If you need kind of an action thriller Christmas type movie to watch around this time of the year with your family, I definitely would recommend it. It's nothing like too terribly violent. It's a pretty good time. But yeah, Carry On. Good enough watch.
Right on. Really, at least this week, I didn't watch too many movies besides Jingle All the Way, but
Do your fucking homework.
Good, I know. It's been busy.
Christmas makes it hard.
It does, yeah. Just busy time of year. But been watching some TV, just keeping up with that. Did want to mention quick that watched the most recent episode of Skeleton Crew. which the show is fine, and it's introducing some maybe interesting things. I don't think you've watched any of it yet. I haven't watched
any of it. Is it on episode 3 or 4 now?
Episode 4 just came out.
Okay.
And it's getting a little bit better as it goes along, in my opinion, but I need to see where it goes before I make a final judgment. I don't love doing, like, individual episode reviews for certain shows because I just think, like, I need to see the full picture. But one show I know we both are really enjoying, and I love talking about week to week, is Creature Commandos. This week's episode is called Chasing Squirrels. And again, like we mentioned last week, it does a great job of keeping the main plot forward while also giving some backstory to a certain character. This week, that character was Weasel, which I'm
going to dress up as Weasel for Halloween.
I'm going to dress up as him every day. I'm going to go walk in dark alleys and dress up as Weasel.
Lick my crotch with my big bug eyes. Just
Nobody checked if he could swim?
Oh my god, he's the best. He is, and like, to make an episode about Weasel, how the fuck are you going to give an episode about this guy that doesn't even talk?
It, like, at the beginning of the episode, we, like, have, like, a close-up on Weasel's face as his eyes are in 3 different directions. He has 2 eyes, but they're in 3 different directions. And it starts zooming in on him, like, oh, this is a Weasel flashback. What are we about to do right now? And James Gunn, he knows how to do this, of, like, having these ensemble fun pieces and then kind of zoom in on a character and show either their backstory or, like, on an emotional arc for this character. And, like, it's a pretty simple backstory, but it's like, really sad. It's
oh my
really
god, it's so sad.
I was like, God, I feel bad for this little fucking creature. Like, what is he? I don't know.
Yeah, and, like, I will say, it's not even, like, a negative, but when you split up a show into flashbacks and into moving the story forward and the current action, it kind of, like, feels sometimes a little disjointed. It hasn't really become that big of a negative for me. It did feel like the brunt of this week's episode was that flashback, whereas the kind of continuing plot of, like, the current events was a little, not a lot of big developments really happened, at least that I thought of. But Weasel's backstory, which is something that's referenced in Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, the good Suicide Squad, is kind of felt like a throwaway line of just like, oh, well, like, shit, the Weasel's killed fucking, 28, whatever number of kids they said that he destroyed and just mutilated, he did, whatever. And then this episode is, well, let's look at that. Let's see what happened. And it's devastating. And I love the titles of these episodes so much. Not only that, the music in the episodes is really
opening credits. I don't know if we mentioned it before, but, like, the music and the way that they look is awesome.
But yeah, the title especially, and the way that they incorporate that title at the very end of, like, oh, what do you think he's dreaming of? He's probably just chasing squirrels. And it's just like, that part was like a fucking gut punch, just the final nail in the coffin.
I also, as far as, like, the main plot moving forward, I really like Rick Flag Sr. as a character, and his relationship with the princess, and his kind of struggle of, you know, is she a good person, is she a bad person? We got Viola Davis back as Amanda Waller in this episode. Also, Steve Agee was back to voice the fucking Economos, the guy from Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, the guy with the beard and glasses.
Is that his name?
You're looking at me.
I don't know his fucking name. Yeah. I thought he had a basic name like Joe, John, or Jeff.
I think it's like John. Hold on, I'm looking it up now. I gotta see what it is.
And he has like the crutch too.
Yeah, because after John Economos. I just remember, like, John Cena being like, "Fuck you, Economos," in Peacemaker.
I wonder if we see Peacemaker sometime in Creature Commandos. I would love to see it, as someone who hasn't finished Peacemaker season 1 still. But
another thing, I always appreciate when they get the people that voice or that played them in live action to voice them in animation. It's a very small thing, and, like, you can get somebody that does a good impression, but it's a nice thing.
We're gonna see Rick Flag Sr. potentially in James Gunn's Superman, so to see that crossover and how that character works from animation into live action, I'm excited to see how that kind of turns out. Yeah, and I also really like David Harbour in this episode. I was really wondering kind of how they're gonna incorporate Frankenstein into this, because I know he's just kind of chasing after her. He's like, my bride, and then he has that kind of brawl with Rick Flag, and then they just kind of like,
you want a coffee?
Can we be done? Like, you're fighting me for something we should be fighting about.
Like, I have my gun pointed at your eye. Like,
can you just talk to
me?
Let
me down, please.
Yeah, I really enjoyed their dynamic, so I'm excited continue to see how they move the story forward, and who do we zoom in on next week? Dr. Phosphorus. We kind of got a little bit of the Bride already, so I'm excited to see if we got a Rick Flag Sr., see a little bit of Rick Flag Jr., like their dynamic. That'd be kind of cool. So whatever comes, I'm excited to see.
Loving it.
Yeah. It gets almost better every week, and I can't wait. And it's a 23-minute episode every week.
Perfect length.
It's so much fun.
Love it.
Moving on to new releases this week, which are some of my... This is the film that I have left to look forward to for this last chunk of the year, which isn't a big chunk, but this movie I can't wait for. Nosferatu, directed by the great Robert Eggers, director of The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman, starring Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Bill Skarsgård, and Willem Dafoe. A gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. Everyone knows Nosferatu, at least everyone our age knows Nosferatu from SpongeBob SquarePants. Nosferatu from the Hash-Slinging Slasher episode. I can't fucking wait for this movie. God damn, it looks so good. Oh, Corey, where's your expectations at with this movie?
Dude, I can't wait. I love Robert Eggers. I was just trying to think of how I'd rank his movies. I was going to ask you. It's really tough, honestly, because they're each very different and unique in their own way. It depends on what mood I'm in, so I'm not even going to rank them. They're all great.
Northman, Witch, Lighthouse. Not that one of the Lighthouse I still love. They're not. There's no ugly third child or redheaded child. They're all amazing. I love all these movies, and I'm sure that this movie is going to be just as good, if not better, than the ones that we've talked about already or mentioned already.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me has been in the trailers, just the tone and the vibe of this movie. It just feels, it feels so good, and I'm really excited to see Lily Rose Depp because I have not seen her in too much. I know she was in that show on HBO with The Weeknd.
Oh yeah, I have no idea what the
don't remember what it was called, but I heard she was okay in it, but I'm just very curious to see her in a lead role. And then along with the cast that you mentioned, Aaron Taylor Johnson's also in this movie. So it's just a really great cast. And just the setting of it, the dread of it, like you mentioned, and this character, I am so excited to see this movie and just be in this environment for a couple hours. And hopefully, I've heard amazing things from critics that have seen it. But just add another great film into Robert Eggers' filmography.
It was The Idol, the TV series that she was on with The Weeknd, which I heard nothing but bad things about.
I think it got canceled after one season.
The one movie I remember her from was Yoga Hosers, which is a Kevin Smith movie, but it was a really small movie. Anyway, I'm super stoked for it. I love horror films. I love Robert Eggers, as we've talked about. I'm not super familiar with Nosferatu. I've seen clips and bits from the original Nosferatu because I was a film student and that was almost a requirement. Nicholas Hoult is the one I'm most excited to see because I don't have doubt really in any of the cast members in this film. Nicholas Hoult is just the one that I've kind of had to get past. I know he's a good actor. He just kind of looks like someone I know, so it makes me hard to watch him in movies because I'm I can't distance him from the person I associate him with. Although I do think he is a good actor. I love him in The Menu. I love him obviously in Mad Max, even though he kind of annoys me in Fury Road a little bit. But that's just the nature of his character. And I really liked him in Juror Number 2. I'm excited to see him in Superman. But yeah, I literally can't fucking wait. I already got my tickets for not going on Christmas Day, but I'm going the day after Christmas. Can't wait. I'm going to bring my wife. I want this movie to be 5 hours long. I can't fucking wait.
I think I'm going to see it Christmas morning because I work a weird schedule and I work at nights and I'm working Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I start at 2:30. So I think I'm going to try and see Nosferatu Christmas Day. I want that to be
going into work after that. I just gleeked all of my fucking computer.
I need to have something on Christmas. I won't be able to be with people on Christmas. I'm if I can't do that, let me be with Robert Eggers and his people.
Robert Eggers giving you a nice little stocking stuff for Nosferatu.
I'm so excited. But Nicholas Hoult having a big year with Juror Number 2, this movie, and The Order, which I've heard is really good.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Superman trailer, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. But he's, I'm excited to just see everybody in this movie, and the time period just looks so cool.
I can't fucking wait.
Big release week here. Another one is A Complete Unknown, which is James Mangold's next movie, who is a director that I think is still very underrated somehow after making great movies like Walk the Line, which obviously is another musical biopic about Johnny
Destiny.
Cash. Yep, he also did make that. That's his one movie that's not good.
I
think.
like that movie a lot.
Quiet.
Anyway, Ford v Ferrari.
Ford v Ferrari. The Wolverine, Logan. Like, the dude, you've seen his movies even if you don't know his name. And he's one of the most consistent directors in Hollywood, I think. But yeah, this movie obviously stars Timothée Chalamet as Bob Dylan. This is in the early part of his life, in the early 60s, where he arrives in New York, starts a relationship with a lot of music icons in Greenwich Village, and tracking his rise, and really specifically, I think, a performance that kind of catches on worldwide. This movie is obviously getting a lot of awards buzz. Edward Norton for supporting actor, Monica Barbaro and Elle Fanning potentially for supporting actress. You've also got Boyd Holbrook playing Johnny Cash in this movie, which I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
Just James Mangold, like, having Johnny Cash in 2 different movies is pretty interesting. I'm a big Johnny Cash. I'm a big Bob Dylan fan. I really like his music. I like his voice. Obviously, he's from Minnesota, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And I think we mentioned it a couple weeks ago that Timothée Chalamet was in town promoting the movie, so that gave me an extra level of excitement just seeing him here, like, at a theater we both love, talking about this movie, talking about how he loves Minnesota and just has really gotten to know this character and the state well while preparing for this character. So this is one that I'm excited for, not just because it's an awards season movie, but because of our personal ties to it. I can't wait to see this one.
I don't love musical biopics, and I've said pretty early on that I was not excited for this movie, and I originally wasn't, which sucks, because it's starting to fucking grow on me, and I'm afraid that I'm going to have one of those experiences where I go to see a movie and then I was wrong, and I have to fucking swallow that pill.
Yeah, swallow it, bud.
Fucking thick. Anyway, I'm starting to get excited for this, and I do think Timothée Chalamet coming to Minneapolis was kind of like, damn, like it feels like there's a level of care behind this movie, especially for an artist that I do really like. When you list artists from Minnesota, I feel like, at least musically, the big ones are Bob Dylan and Prince. I fucking hate Prince.
I think you're leaving out one big one.
Okay. Who are you going to say?
Young Gravy?
Okay.
Are you going to forget Young Gravy
right
now? Are you serious?
Okay, classics. Anyway, fuck it.
Oh!
Classics. Prince and Bob Dylan. I don't like Prince at all, which I believe is sacrilege. Saying that too loud anywhere in Minnesota, people will get mad at you.
SWAT team's going to be in a
someone's going to fucking breach the door. But I love Bob Dylan, and I love his music. And what I've seen, at least, of Timothée Chalamet, the sound of him singing Bob Dylan, it sounds really good. The thing that's really gotten me on board with this movie isn't necessarily all the accolades I'm hearing about it and the critical reaction to it, but Boyd Holbrook as Johnny Cash, and those like small snippets you see in the trailer of him being Johnny Cash, and when he looks at him, he's like, hey, keep doing what you're doing. Like basically you're doing the right thing. Like, you're singing these songs that people don't want to hear, but they need to hear them. And I'm like, fuck, that's starting to work on me. So I originally didn't want to see this, and I thought I was going to be able to skip it and avoid it and hope to God it didn't get nominations, because whenever something gets nominations, I'm like, fuck, I need to go see it. But this is going to be one of those movies I need to see. And I think I likely will end up liking it. I love James Mangold's work. You talked about his back catalog. We both love The Wolverine. That was basically the movie I think you and I both accredit our friendship to. Logan is an amazing masterpiece of modern Western storytelling. Ford v Ferrari is the most like engaging movie about racing I've ever seen, aside from Rush. And Walk the Line is maybe my favorite music biopic aside from Rocket Man, probably. So he's proven that he can tell a story like this before, so I'm excited to see it, especially one that's now about one of my favorite musicians of all time. Even though I don't love the formula of a musical biopic, I'll probably have to see this one, which I'm kind of begrudgingly having to admit. But moving on to a movie that I literally couldn't give less of a fuck about.
We got your Nicole Kidman rant last week.
So we'll maybe get an ounce of that today. Babygirl, which I know a lot of people are excited for this movie. Babygirl is coming out, directed by Helena Rain, director of Bodies, 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 which is a movie at first annoyed me, but grew on me a little bit more and more after.
I remember you, me, and your wife, Allie, we watched it, and then right after it ended, you're like, do you want the Blu-ray of this movie? Because I don't want it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Like, I actually enjoy that movie. But
yeah, and it's grown on me since then. I don't think I want to own that movie, but there's parts of it I want to rewatch, but all those characters in that movie are annoy the shit out of me. Anyway, Babygirl, starring Nicole Kidman. Yep. Harris Dickinson and Antonio Banderas, which I love Antonio Banderas. He's always awesome, and he's always fun to watch. Movie is about a high-powered CEO who puts her career and family on the line when she begins a torrid affair with her much younger intern. Oh, the scandal.
That was a good dramatic reading.
Thank you. Like I said, I don't give a shit about this movie. If it gets nominations for directing, then I will see it. That is the one thing I will omit. I will see it if it gets nominated for directing, because that is like my favorite award. Whoever wins Best Director, that's like my hero for that year. If that gets nominated for Best Director at the Oscars, I'll go see it. But I can't stand Nicole Kidman. I love Harris Dickinson, and I love Antonio Banderas. And you can call me an asshole for not liking a white woman, but I can't stand Nicole Kidman. I cannot look at this woman's billboard of a plastic face. Holy shit. The movie could be great. It's made by A24. It has a good director. It has a good cast, and then there's that fucking troll in it. So who knows? Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be bad. I don't know if I ever want to see it. I know my wife might want to see it. So if that's the case, I can bring a blindfold and take her to it. Yeah, Corey, what are you thinking about Babygirl?
Yeah, no, 2 Nicole Kidman rants in like 2 weeks is fucking awesome. I love that.
I used to like her.
Yeah.
No more. Can't do it.
No more.
No more.
Was there a year, like a point, or
it was right around like, what was the movie that she did? Was she in Begilded?
The Beguiled?
Beguiled.
The Sofia Coppola one?
I remember seeing the trailers for that. I was like, what's going on with your face? And because I love her in Killing of a Sacred Deer. That is one of my favorite movies.
She's good in Lion, too.
She's great in Lion.
Yeah, I like her.
She's great in Lion. And I like her in that movie. And I grew up with her in Batman Forever, and the amount of sweaty boners that movie gave me because of her in it, that makes me sound
Sweaty.
even more... Yeah, that's
crazy.
Also bad to say, but it just makes me... It further makes me look like a worse person for saying, like, I can't look at this woman now, but she used to give me boners. That's horrible to say. But that's the case, I guess. And I think she's a great actress, and if someone says she's amazing in this movie, this is her Demi Moore in the substance, I'd be like, yeah, sure. Bet it is. I can't look at her face.
I can pretty much guarantee you this will not get nominated for Best Director. I think there's just too many other good nominees this year.
Wise guy over here fucking knows.
I think, I don't think it will, but I do think this will be a movie that we kind of see every year where the movie doesn't get a lot of love, but yeah, look at you too. Yeah, you were shitting on me for frothing earlier. Yeah, you got frothy top over there.
Fucking lick the side of the can. Don't get hard.
I don't know if anyone can hear that. Hear him licking the can. I don't know if that'll come through.
I don't like that I looked up and made eye contact with you.
Yeah, that was direct eye contact, bud. Just slurping and licking.
Sorry, talk about Babygirl. Well, I just fucking make love to this frothy can over here.
Yeah, nice. Anyways, this movie feels like one that we kind of see. There's a few of these every year in the award season where there's a performance or a certain thing that gets nominated from this movie, and I think Nicole Kidman has a very good chance of getting nominated for Best Actress for this movie, which I agree with you. I don't the idea, the concept of this movie, I'm not interested in. I don't need to see this like older woman just wanting to like fuck around.
Like we've seen like this type of affair movie before. We've seen The Secretary. We've seen like power dynamics and someone abusing it. And like there's just little to what I think could be new to this, where it's like what are you gonna attempt? Unless Nicole Kidman's gonna slowly drink milk, and I just get to watch that in a trailer again. Like I don't fucking know what new, like what A24 aspect weird bullshit indie film thing are you gonna try and skew in there and try and make this original? I have no interest in this. If it gets accolades, I'm sure everyone that gets kind of recognition for him deserves them, but this is not my movie.
Yeah, I don't think I will see it in theaters, but this will be one that I kind of wait to see once the general public sees it. I know like critic reactions have been good, but we'll see on that. Nicole Kidman certainly in that conversation for Best Actress nomination.
I will say, I said if it gets a directing nom, I'll see it. If it gets Antonio Banderas a Best Supporting Actor nom, I have no idea how big his role really is going to be. He is the husband of Nicole Kidman's character. But if he gets the best supporting actor, I'll watch it then too. So I'm giving it 2 chances to where I will sit down and watch it. But otherwise,
if Puss in Boots gets nominated, Mason will watch it.
If Puss in Boots, I wish.
The other thing that's coming out this week, which we actually just both saw the trailer for the first time before Craven, which I don't. Thinking back on that, it's crazy.
What a fucking viewing that was.
Yeah, it's called The Fire Inside, which is directed by Rachel Morrison, who has mainly been a cinematographer for movies like Black Panther, Mudbound, Fruitvale Station. Very famously was the first woman to get nominated for Best Cinematographer for Mudbound in, I believe it was 2018. This movie stars Ryan Destiny and Brian Tyree Henry, and follows the story of Clarissa T-Rex Shields, a boxer from Flint, Michigan, who trains to become the first woman in her country's history to win an Olympic gold medal in the sport. This is a story I'm not super familiar with, and it's not one that I am super, I'm not going out to the theater to see urgently. If I hear good things, I may watch it. I like the idea of Rachel Morrison directing, though. That's kind of interesting. A lot of her cinematography has been great. She's worked with Ryan Coogler a lot, and everything she's shot has looked beautiful, so I don't doubt her ability to direct a good movie. It's just not a story that I am super interested in. We get a lot of these kind of like sports biopics, which I'm like, I don't like Big George Foreman. Was that this year?
Oh, that was last year.
Was that last year? Yeah, I don't know. Just like things like that.
Forgot about that fucking movie.
That kind of like look a little bit more surface level as far as story and characters, where I'm like, I don't think I need to see this right away. If I hear great things, I may watch it down the road.
Yeah, like Corey said, I didn't see the trailer. I knew nothing about this movie until we saw the trailer before Craven. I'm excited to see Brian Tyree Henry getting work just because I love him. Everything he's in. I'm going to burp.
Dude, that was sick.
Sorry. Anyway, anything he's in. I loved him in Transformers 1. Bullet Train. What I stayed awake for in Bullet Train. Which makes it sound like I didn't like that movie. I was just, again, very liquored up, very tired. Common thread there. Anyway, I kind of agree with you, Corey. It came out of nowhere for me. I watched the trailer, and the trailer looks pretty formulaic, at least in terms of what the story is of like a boxer having to prove where they come from and like that they're something beyond like their background. And the trailer kind of reminds me of Creed, or at least my first approach to Creed or reaction to seeing a trailer for Creed. And I was like, okay, like I don't know if I need another story like this. Sure, like I guess I get why this is being made. And then I saw Creed and I was like, holy fuck, like this movie's awesome. Like it's made super well, and I don't know, maybe there is some of that here, and maybe there's some of that energy, but kind of like what you said, where it just feels kind of surface level. If it does get a lot of praise, or there's a lot of kind of, if anything comes out, or any kind of big outlet comes out and says, hey, there's something like interesting here, there's something that's kind of new that it brings, then maybe I'll go see it. Or if the direction is really referenced as being something kind of great by Rachel Morrison in her directorial debut, then maybe I'll go see it. But I don't know. I might have to play catch up on this one once it's out of theaters if I hear great things, because I don't know if I'm like that eager to go try and catch it in theaters. But who knows? If it does well, I'm sure I'll try and see it eventually. But moving on into a little bit of a physical media roundup. What we purchased lately, which I purchased nothing. We purchased things for each other. Yeah. And to keep up with the Christmas season, Corey got me a Blu-ray of Strange Darling, which is maybe one of my best and favorite films of 2024. Really excited to rewatch that. My wife's really excited to watch that for the first time, because since I've seen it, I haven't shut the fuck up about that movie. But really excited to watch that movie with her. Corey, what did you get from your favorite little Santa?
All right, yeah. Well, yeah. No, Mason was very generous. He's always killing it on the gifts. This year, he got me Hush on 4K, which we mentioned a few weeks ago, because it's not on any streaming services, which is very annoying. But it's a fucking 4-disc set, and I was just reading through on the back of it. I think like there's a cut of the movie in black and white, which is really sweet, and I'd actually be interested to watch that movie in black and white. Great horror movie, early Mike Flanagan movie. Can't wait to rewatch it. And then he also got me the 4K steelbook for Joker Folie à Deux, which is a movie that I want to save talking about for time when you've seen the movie.
So okay.
But I enjoy the movie. I don't think it's perfect. I think it has issues, but I will defend that movie more than anybody else I've seen talk about it. Which is, I have a few of those, I suppose.
Yeah. Like you said, I haven't seen that, or I haven't seen Joker Folia do, but everything I have seen, you are definitely in the minority in terms of what your take is on the movie.
Steelbook, just on that level, looks great though.
I haven't even looked at it. Fuck.
Yeah, it looks sweet. It's really cool. So I'm excited to own that, put it right next to the first Joker. And then just another little shout out, Mason also got me this very nice fabric-y poster for La La Land, which I don't know if I've said is my favorite movie of all time. So I cannot wait to get that in frame, get that on my wall. I've wanted a poster of that movie forever. So thank you for the Christmas gifts. I also have a couple more coming for you, which are in transit. Amazon is working to get them here, so we'll talk about those.
Kind of sprung our Christmas celebration the week before Christmas just because I'm going up north and I'm going to be out of town. So I'm trying to clear out the presents out of my bedroom because all the presents that we've gotten for Christmas shopping between me and my wife have kind of overtaken one of our corners in our bedroom. So it's like, all right, we need to start getting the stuff out before we get stuff back in. So I was happy to kind of get a jump start on the Christmas celebration. What does release this week, which Tuesday being Christmas Eve kind of slows up any sort of new releases really coming out. There are some 4Ks of Snake Eyes, the Nicolas Cage. This is the Nicolas Cage, not the fucking G.I. Joe Snake Eyes. Okay, the Nicolas Cage Snake Eyes comes out in 4K, which I've never seen. My dad did have a copy of this on DVD in our basement that I looked at a lot just because I thought the purple really caught my eye of the cover. I never saw it because Nicolas Cage, as a kid, scared the shit out of me. And then Internal Affairs is also coming out on 4K. Have no idea what the fuck that movie is. Every time I read it, I think Infernal Affairs, which is the original, basically the story that Departed is based off of. So yeah, if you're looking to pick up really any of those physical media new releases, it's new, old releases. Corey, are you going to be grabbing Snake Eyes 4K, Internal Affairs 4K? Have you seen either of these movies?
Dude, I haven't seen either of them. I've seen Snake Eyes, a G.I. Joe origin story, or whatever the fuck that's called. I saw that in theaters.
That was great from what I've heard.
Yeah, but I actually do want to watch Snake Eyes at some point, the Nicolas Cage one. Internal Affairs, I know it has Richard Gere and Andy Garcia, and it's like a crime drama, so I'd be interested to watch it, but yeah, this is one of those weeks where not much is coming out, so... moving into what I think we were both most excited to talk about in this episode today.
Big movie news!
We had, this week was Superman week in my mind.
Basically, James Gunn did not let us get out of that mindset.
They released, I think it was maybe Tuesday morning, was the poster for the movie, which is kind of a motion poster, which is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Loved it, and they released like a little bit of the score for the movie along with that. And then the next day they did a teaser for the teaser, which showed people looking up at the sky. And it's like, hey, there's a trailer, teaser trailer coming tomorrow. This is a teaser for that, which I fucking hate when they do that.
I can't stand that. I wish they would stop doing that. It makes no sense. Yeah. The teaser is supposed to be doing this.
Yeah. We don't... I also, just as a quick side note, when a trailer starts, when you're watching a trailer, and then it's like, trailer starts now.
Don't need that. That is such a new dumb shit development.
I know that I'm watching the trailer. That's why I clicked on it. I don't need that shit. Whatever. That's a whole other thing. Anyways, Thursday we got the first official teaser trailer for Superman. James Gunn's take on the character, the first film in the DCU, the second project of the DCU following Creature Commandos. This comes out on July 11th, 2025. I have some thoughts on this trailer. I really liked it, first of all. I know you really liked it as well.
My thighs to my knees are very sticky from this trailer.
Thighs to knees?
Oh my god, did I love it. Not only did I love this trailer, I hate the teaser for the teaser thing that you brought up. That is one of my least favorite recent developments in terms of film marketing. Don't do that shit. Also that hey, this trailer that you clicked on, we're going to give you a bunch of random blurbs from the movie and then tell you that it's starting now, actually. It's like, why do a promo before the trailer that I already clicked on?
Yep.
Don't do that. The poster, I can't name definitively what my favorite movie poster of all time is, but when I saw this poster, I was like, this is in the conversation.
Wow.
It might be the motion of it. It is, and you hear a little bit of the score. At least I saw James Gunn posted on Instagram. That's where I first saw it, and I got a little bit of the score, and I was like, fuck, this is what. And I love Man of Steel. I love Christopher Reeve Superman. I like Superman Returns. this is what Superman is to me. Like, this is what it should be. And, oh my God, I could get emotional about that fucking poster. The trailer worked flawlessly for me. I don't know necessarily all your kind of critiques or kind of hesitations about the trailer, so I'm kind of eager to hear more about that, because there's nothing in this trailer that didn't work for me. The biggest thing that the trailer had to, like, sell to me necessarily was Crypto. Because when they announced, oh, Crypto's going to be in this, I'm like, I don't know if I need that in a Superman movie. I know that this isn't necessarily a Superman origin story, but I don't know. I never saw DC Super Pets. I know you did.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
But I don't know if I need that in live action. I don't know how well that would work. But then the way the trailer starts, and he's just beaten to the fucking ground, and he's just in the snow, and then he's whistling, and you see this like pellet breaking sound barriers coming towards him, and then it's Crypto, and he hands him his cape. He's like, Crypto, take me home.
I got you.
That fucking hit me. I wasn't expecting it. So anyway, that it had to prove to me Crypto can work, and the way that energetic little fucking flying dog worked its way into my heart so quickly. I'm sold on that part. So I from there on in the trailer, I was like, fuck, let's just cook. So, Corey, what were some of your kind of hesitations, or what are some of the things in the trailer that didn't necessarily work 100% for you, at least?
Yeah, so obviously we just released our top 10 most anticipated for next year, and this is number 2. This trailer I really liked. I think this is a great first teaser trailer. I'll just talk briefly about my positives with it, because I think that, like everything you mentioned, it just had that kind of hopeful feel of Superman. The scene that stood out to me the most is just him saving the little girl from...
With the gas tanks blowing up?
Yeah, like whatever's blowing up, and it's just like, that is Superman.
Zack Snyder, that's how you do slow-mo.
Like, right, yeah, exactly. So, like, that worked for me. Like, everything looked really good. I just had a few little critiques, which, like, these are things that, like, obviously the movie still doesn't come out until next summer. One thing, some of the color grading, which has been a big discussion online, especially in the teaser to the teaser, where it was very overexposed and saturated, and I was like, this looks a little like CW of DC
looks
shows.
A little dialed up.
And there were a couple shots in this trailer that looked like that. Obviously, that's stuff that can be fixed. So that's not like a big issue. It's just something I noticed.
And it can look different when you actually see it. Yeah.
Yep, so that's just a little thing. Another thing, I loved the use of John Williams' score in the trailer, the electric guitar. I think it sounds sweet. I hope, and again, I don't know, this could change, I hope that we get an original score for this movie, and not just being like, you remember the theme that you like, right? And we're gonna play that so you like this trailer, right? It's like, no, that theme is iconic, and like if you do like a motif to it in the movie, like that's great. But I kind of want John Murphy, I believe it's John Murphy doing the score. I want him to, even though it's really tough because Hans Zimmer and John Williams have both done great themes, I want him to...
Both iconic, too, in different ways.
And that's a tough thing to live up to, so I get it why you would use the original score from Christopher Reeve's movie. But I'm curious to see, and obviously that's something we don't know what the music for this movie is, so just a couple little things. My main issue, or main concern, I guess, with this movie is how many characters there are in this movie, and especially that they show in the trailer. We were talking about it before. Like, I expect the usual cast of Superman characters, of the Lex Luthor, Superman, Lois Lane, all the Daily Planet people, whatever. But also in this movie, I'm just going to list them out, of other people that are in this movie as well.
Yeah.
You get Rick Flag Sr., Supergirl, Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and I guess Crypto is kind of like we haven't seen in live action before.
Yeah, new introduction to a new character, yeah.
So it's just so many pieces and moving pieces in this thing that I really want this to be solely focused on like Superman and Lex Luthor, especially for this introduction into the DCU, because I think we've seen what happens when, like, in the early movies of your universe, like with Batman v Superman, when you are trying to put so much in there and introduce these characters and what can happen. And again, like, this could be, they could have a smaller role in the movie, but then it's like, well, why include them? Because when you introduce these big characters, you kind of need to have a little bit of an arc, which has taken away time from being with Superman and Lois Lane, which I kind of want this movie to be. So that is really my thing, is how they're going to handle all of these different pieces. Any of the big fucking kaiju thing that's like blown fire or whatever. So I'm very optimistic about this movie, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm like, please handle these characters well. And I hope that they still give enough time to just focus on Superman, Lois Lane, and Lex Luthor, which is really what I want in this movie.
Mm-hmm. I think, at least for me, in terms of like bringing up that John Williams score, I'm really happy that they used it in this trailer, and the way that they kind of riffed on it and having that electric guitar, it was really cool, and it kind of gave it a different type of energy to it. Because while I don't know what my definitive favorite poster I've ever seen for a movie is, my favorite score I can list, and that is John Williams' Superman score for Richard Donner's 1978 Superman. That is my favorite film score. I love it. It makes me want to cry. It is so awesome and ambitious and hopeful, and it works perfectly. And that may just like make me a little too biased towards hearing it again. I really think it is kind of more of a point to kind of hopefully bring us back to like a hopeful Superman, which again, I love Man of Steel, but I feel like a big detraction or a common gripe you hear for Man of Steel is, well, it's too negative, it's too dour, it's too serious, which worked for me, but I feel like that's James Gunn kind of, hey, we're taking this back to the hopeful Superman, the savior, the man who fights for truth, justice, and the American way. And he's a Boy Scout, basically. So I'm excited for that. If they continue to use that bit of this kind of reworked John Williams score, then I'll kind of get a little worried more. But for this initial teaser, it works great for me. The idea about the too many characters, I get that critique that I've heard, and I get your take on it too. In the trailer, it worked for me. I'm not sure. I think everyone's going to be an accent character. Like, I think this will be Superman's movie, and I have trust in James Gunn, at least, and I know you do too, in terms of how he's able to kind of orchestrate a big ensemble, but I don't think that this is necessarily going to be an ensemble piece, even though there is basically the number of characters. This could be an ensemble film. I think that this will be a tried and true Superman movie. The way it has me going with, like, the poster referencing, hey, look up. Like, not only look up and see a big dude in a blue suit flying, but look up, be optimistic. I think that the way, and I kind of get this from James Gunn's Suicide Squad and the tone of Creature Commandos, kind of like the way that world exists now, before this Superman coming into the picture, it seems kind of dark, or like more, not nihilistic, but realistic. Not hopeful, but realistic. Like, bad shit happens. Fuck it, like, who cares? We need to deal with it, but bad shit happens. And I feel like this look up, and now you have Superman coming in, and I feel like this is going to be like, hey, no, like, let's make things better. Like, things are fine as is, and things are getting handled, but they're not being handled well. Like, hey, let's make things better. So, with Superman coming in, I think he's going to bring a new light. This is obviously not an origin story. This is kind of, they reference, like, this is mid-action, like, middle of the story, where we get the Superman. The one thing, mostly it might be just because we haven't seen this character yet in any sort of marketing, is Supergirl. I'm really interested to see kind of how she works into the story. Did she come at the same time as Kal-El? Did she come later, before? Like, kind of how does that timeline work out? I think Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor looks great. I have no doubt in my mind that Rachel Brosnahan is going to be a perfect Lois Lane. The music worked for me. The iconography of him saving that girl, and you referenced it in the slow motion. That is, like I said, Zack Snyder, that's how you do slow-mo. You don't do slow-mo when you are showing someone drop fucking rice in a field. You use slow-mo to show a climactic, amazing, epic moment, but make sure that you're able to allow the audience to capture every, like, nanosecond of it. Not someone just dropping something and, oh, well, I don't know, half speed. So this trailer worked with flying colors for me, and I love what they've done with Clark Kent too. That's kind of like the hardest sell, is like, how do you differentiate Clark Kent and Superman?
It's like Henry Cavill always just looked the same.
He just threw on glasses, and that's kind of like the common gripe, or like the swirl in the hair for Superman. It's just like the common gripe, which Christopher Reeve does have that amazing scene in the 1978 where he kind of like, his shoulders shift and like his confidence shifts and just like his posture.
The
and
physicality
it's like,
of it.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I get that there, but the Henry Cavill kind of lost that a little bit, and then you're like really just making me have to believe that people don't recognize him, or they recognize him and they're just not saying anything. But this, like, him with his like fucking curly popcorn hair Clark Kent. And he's kind of like, he looks a little bumbling and like running late. And I don't know, everything fucking worked for me in this trailer. I think Nathan Fillion looks ridiculous as Guy Gardner. I think seeing
crazy haircut, which I know is like comic accurate, but
I think Hawker looks awesome, which I don't know a lot about these characters too, so I'm excited to see how they get introduced. The only reference I have for Hawkgirl is like the animated Justice League show I watched when I was a kid, so I don't know. For a teaser, I think that this Flying Colors, like one of the best trailers I've seen in the past couple of years, I think. I loved it. I'm a bit biased because I love Superman and I love the 1978 Superman. Also, I'm a big fan of Man of Steel. But I can't fucking wait for this movie. And James Gunn, I trust. We trust. I am so excited. July 11th can't come fast enough. Corey, there's another trailer that dropped this past week.
That's right. Equally as important.
As important.
Yeah.
A crossover / rebootquel / I don't fucking know what this is / I didn't even watch the fucking trailer for this. But I'm talking about this. Karate Kid Legends. The trailer, which in my notes I wrote, don't fucking care. I saw my introduction into Karate Kid was the Jaden Smith film, which is wild. We redboxed that 20. Just rip into that.
Trying to like ease into this.
Yeah,
one.
not get a frothy top.
There we
successful.
go.
Maybe we're just too aggressive on the opening of these cans.
Attaboy.
But anyway, Jaden Smith introduction for the Karate Kid with Jackie Chan, and I actually really enjoyed that movie. I saw it in 2011. Then I went back and watched the Ralph Macchio one, which I was colored by How I Met Your Mother and Neil Patrick Harris's Barney Stinson's hate for Ralph Macchio. He wins on an illegal move. And when I watched that movie, I couldn't get that out of my head. So I've never had like that love for the Karate Kid, even though I think that movie is a really fun like 80s, like the aesthetic of it. It's just so engaging. I don't give a fuck about this movie. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I don't watch Cobra Kai. I tried watching the first season. We don't have a friend. You have a friend. You have a friend.
There's
named. Let's name him. No, can we name him? Can we name him?
There's somebody
named Alex Freer.
Okay.
Who released this banger of a song. And he went to UMD with you. You guys were like really close friends.
No,
He released a song called Eagle Fang Karate because he's a big fan of Cobra Kai, and I've watched that video. I have to be half that man's views on YouTube. That song is the best thing that's ever come out of Karate Kid, and I know I have a very distinct perception of this franchise, but I don't love the Karate Kid. It's never connected with me. I don't get how these stories are intertwining. Did you watch the trailer? Because I'm really just like gluing to Alex Freer, Eagle Fang Karate.
Shouting him out. Didn't expect that today, but the song, honestly, the song.
For Eagle Fang Karate, we're still talking
Eagle Fang Karate. I had to address it.
Eagle Fang Karate. We're gonna get copyrighted.
We're gonna get copyrighted, but the song is legitimately great. It's this guy I went to college with. Maybe he listens to this. I don't know. Hi, Alex. Whatever. The song's great. I've never watched Cobra Kai. I do love the Karate Kid, the original. I grew up watching that, and the second one as well, and I actually really like it. I haven't seen the Jaden Smith one.
I really like it.
Yeah, and I own the movie. I just haven't watched it yet. So this one is kind of merging the two worlds. I don't know. It could be fun. I don't.
Is the trailer good?
It looks fine. It looks. I don't know. It's.
Is it like another tournament? Like what's going on?
It looks like
conflict.
It looks like Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan training this kid
together.
It looks like they're kind of working together to train a kid, obviously for like some tournament or for something.
Is Hilary Swank in it from Karate Kid? 3 or 4?
She could be the next Karate Kid or some shit. I haven't watched that one, but I think I've said it before. I'm a completionist, so before this movie comes out, I'll watch all of them just to say I have. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of anticipation for this. I think it could be okay.
God, you're going to watch all the Karate Kids. I will start writing your obituary now.
Yeah, well, there's not that many of them. There's like 5 total, so it's like that's fine.
Yeah, that's going to be fine.
But yeah, so it looks okay. Into some other movie news. Black Panther 3, officially in the works, confirmed by Kevin Feige. And this kind of comes at the same time as Marvel saying that a longtime executive, Nate Moore, is leaving the studio in 2025 to pursue some other projects. But it looks like he's going to be collaborating with Kevin Feige on at least one more MCU film. He's been an executive producer on the last 2 Captain America movies, on the Black Panther movies, so he's been involved in Marvel for a little while. Denzel Washington said he was in this movie on the Gladiator 2 press junket.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was allowed to do that, but he just did because he's Denzel, and who gives a fuck. I like the first Black Panther a lot. I was surprised by the second one and very impressed with how they handled the death of Chadwick Boseman and still made a pretty compelling movie that I feel like not a lot of people talk about actually anymore.
It's kind of slept on in terms of like recent Marvel movies. Because like it didn't get bad reviews, it didn't get amazing reviews, but it was kind of just like lost, I feel like, in the shuffle, at least when you look back at like this Phase 5. I'm excited when Denzel mentioned that he was potentially going to be in this world. I figured another Black Panther movie would be coming. I love the first 2/3 of Black Panther. The final act I don't love. Black Panther Wakanda Forever I was pleasantly surprised by. I really enjoyed that. There was a part of me for a while that thought I liked Wakanda Forever more than the first Black Panther. I think over time I've kind of just grown more towards the nostalgia of the first Black Panther and that Kendrick fucking sound.
It's crazy.
Oh, it's so good.
That was like... Obviously, we don't have as like big of a personal connection to the first Black Panther and just like the cultural significance of it.
We're 2 white kids from Minnesota.
That's right. But just hearing the conversation about that movie when it was coming out, plus that Kendrick score, which we've already talked about, we're seeing him live in a few months.
Oh yeah, we are. Fucking April.
And just like that score is insane. I really do like that first movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the third act, it's like rhinos and like they're falling and punching each other. I'm like, it's whatever.
Doesn't all look great, but I'm excited for a third one. That Wakanda Forever, aside from whatever when the Dora Milaje were like flying, like Iron Man, whatever those were.
Suits, fuck yeah.
Whatever those were called, I like the
Angels or
Night Angels, Death Angels, whatever they were.
Like that,
I didn't care for that, but
Namor's a cool villain though.
Namor's sick,
and he's still alive.
I can't wait to see him more, hopefully. Yeah. And I actually was Shuri becoming the Black Panther overall worked for me. I wish that they wouldn't have. I wish they would have recasted Chadwick and recasted T'Challa, which I feel like I might be in the minority on.
I feel like I disagree actually. I'm okay with them going to Shuri.
I'm okay with it. And I overall, I'm like, in my head, that's not the logical next step. Because
they
like,
should have made Martin Freeman the Black Panther.
Nope. I was going to say maybe Winston Duke or Okoye or what's Lupita Nyong'o's
Jesse
character?
Plemons?
Nope. You're really nailing these. Wow.
Al Pacino? No.
Anyway, I think there's a number of characters they could have went with that I would have been happier with instead of Shuri, but overall, Shuri actually worked for me, surprisingly, and the opening of that movie is really emotional. So, yeah, I'm excited for Black Panther 3. Moving on to a dying franchise, unlike Marvel, the Marvel Prime universe, I'll say. Kraven's come out. We saw it. It sucked dicks. Just more dicks than Riley Reid has sucked. It is just so not good. Kraven, I wanted to talk about this just because I think that this is a hilarious stat. Kraven is Sony's lowest box office opening for their Spider-Man-less Spider-Verse films. Kraven the Hunter on its opening weekend, which is not this past weekend, but the weekend, or no, it was this past weekend, opened to 11 million domestic. And I wanted to run through the domestic opening numbers for the opening weeks of their Spider-Man-less Spider-Verse films. Venom, their first one, 80.2 million, solid opening, solid movie. Venom Let There Be Carnage, my favorite, which I might be in the minority on. I know a lot of people actually prefer the first Venom. That movie, the second one, opened to 90 million. Morbius, movie sucks ass, 39 million. Madam Web, dog shit, 15.3. Venom: The Last Dance, 51 million. Venom is kind of a more established franchise. People can actually go back. Tom Hardy's a great actor. 51 million. Kraven the Hunter, fucking just getting in there with 11 million.
Oof.
It's just so perfect to me. Less than Madam Web.
Just this franchise is just going out with a whimper
again. And I think Kraven the Hunter is a better made film than Madam Web. Like, objectively, but I'd much rather rewatch Madam Web than Kraven, and it kind of makes me really fucking happy that this movie's bombing. Just sucks ass. Corey, any of these numbers opening weekend wise that surprise you kind of looking back on? Morbius making $39 million feels like too high to me.
There was like a sort of the buzz around it of like the meme of it of like, oh, it's making a more billion bucks or whatever the fuck it was. Honestly, just good riddance to this little 6-movie universe that they tried to do. We're done. You tried it. You collaborate with Kevin Feige to make good Spider-Man movies. Honestly, if
or
they
do nothing.
Right, or if they would have had some of these casting choices in the MCU, Tom Hardy and Aaron Taylor Johnson kind of stick out to me as two people that I'm like, if you were in an MCU movie as these characters, I think you could have been done really well. But, they didn't do that because they wanted to try and establish themselves. And they didn't because you can see from these... Well, I guess the first 2 Venom movies were very successful, actually. But
I didn't realize how big that first Venom movie was out the gate, too.
For sure.
Which I really enjoyed. I'm biased. I love Tom Hardy in anything he's in, so I really like the first Venom. I think Venom Let There Be Carnage, aside from that wonky-ass rave scene, is really fun, and I really enjoy that movie. Madam Web is dog shit, but I really enjoyed watching that in theaters, as bad as that movie is. Morbius, I fell asleep during. Venom The Last Dance was just the most, baffling movie experience I feel like I've had in a while, and then Kraven the Hunter was just the most boring, dull bullshit I've seen in a long time. So...
Yep. See you later, Sony Spider-Man
fuck
universe.
off and die.
That's right. Last little bit of movie news we got is that a new Mummy movie was announced with Lee Cronin writing and directing, who is the director of Evil Dead Rise, which we both really love. Mm-hmm. Great horror movie. Sometimes I think it's maybe my favorite Evil Dead movie. I don't know.
It's up there.
There's a lot of them clustered at the top for me. This movie is set for release in April of 2026. Atomic Monster, which is James Wan's production company, and Blumhouse coming together along with Cronin's doppelgangers are producing the movie. I like the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies. The first 2, actually no, I have a soft spot for the third one. I grew up watching it.
They're all pretty good.
They're fun. They're good adventure movies. The Tom Cruise Mummy from 2017, not good. So
never saw, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't watch it. I don't know if I need another Mummy movie, but I'm excited about Lee Cronin doing something else. So, yeah, I think I'm somewhat excited.
Yeah. I'm excited for a new take on the Mummy, just because I missed out on the Tom Cruise one, because I heard just the dog shit that was and was like, I can skip this one. I do love the Brendan Fraser mummies, which I don't think that this is going to be anything like. The first Brendan Fraser mummy is one of my favorite, early 2000s, which I don't think it actually even came out in the 2000s, but that time period of Pirates of the Caribbean, Mask of Zorro, that schlocky, swashbuckling action, just fucking ride of a film. I love that movie. Didn't see Tom Cruise's Mummy. Fine, fuck it. I do love the recent resurgence of the kind of iconic horror icons of the Invisible Man, and now this upcoming year we have the Wolf Man, which if you watched our top 10 anticipated, that is my number 2 for this upcoming year of 2025. I can't wait for the Wolf Man. So Lee Cronin making Evil Dead Rise, which is maybe my second or third favorite Evil Dead film of all time. It's just a fucking baller horror film. Very awesome. I can't wait to see whatever he's going to do next. And the fact that he's attaching himself to another horror franchise or horror iconography that I can't wait to hopefully get rejuvenated, then fuck yeah, I can't wait. But yeah, Superman was kind of the big news story for this week. Everything else was kind of just little updates and then throwing some shade on Kraven, because fuck that piece of shit. But moving on to a little bit more of a nugget of just fuckery that we get to talk about. Movie Rewind for this week, which feels a little bit like we're cheating. Did get a little bit of a limited release theatrically, but is a Netflix streaming movie. Rebel Moon, Part 1, A Child of Fire. Directed by Zack Snyder, who we both like. Yeah. Starring Sofia Boutella, who should never lead a movie ever. Ed Skrein, don't give a fuck. He's only good in Deadpool. Jamon Hansu, the black person that will always get sidelined in every fucking movie, even though he's the best part. Who? Ray Fisher, dude, you were amazing in the Snyder Cut. Anthony Hopkins, why the fuck are you here? And Charlie Hunnam, Legend of Arthur, King Arthur, whatever, Legend of the Sword, good movie.
Pacific Rim, good.
Synopsis: when a peaceful settlement, fuck it, who gives a shit?
Yeah, who fucking cares? It's Rebel Moon. Who gives a fuck? This movie fucking sucks.
It's not good.
This is one of the most boring, like, big budget fucking pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life.
Bad. Fucking bad. Slow-mo up the ass. Colonoscopy of just slow-mo getting packed at your colon. Just not good.
This first... before... So, fucking Christ. Rebel Moon... Zack Snyder split into 2 parts. This first part came out in 2023.
Is there not supposed to be a third one?
I don't know. They've talked about it. I hope they never do it. There's supposed to be like 8 other parts to this.
Fuck 'em.
That he's talked about.
And a comic book and animated shit.
Yeah. At least this first section split into 2 parts. A Child of Fire with this movie, and then Scargiver was the second one. Was that earlier this year? I don't know.
I don't care.
I
didn't watch it.
I did, and I hated myself.
You told me.
This first movie is one of the most boring things I've ever seen in my life. It consists of this threat of like Ed Skrein and these like people from space just posing a threat, and then Sofia Boutella and some other characters just like bouncing around, like picking up a character, and you learn a little bit about him, and then you just move on to the next one, and then you get another character, you move on to the next one, and then this movie ends before anything happens. And then in the second movie, we start out by just sitting around a table and everyone does an exposition dump for 5 minutes. Each character gets it and they just each do that. And then you have them fucking preparing for Ed Skrein and the people to come, and they're just dropping wheat in slow-mo, and I fucking hate it, and it sucks, and the action's not even that fun. And then Zack Snyder's like, well, actually those weren't the real versions of the movie. I'm going to release these extended cuts that are like 18 hours each, which I don't know if I'll ever watch them. Maybe someday. I don't give a fuck. It's just like, release the versions you want to release right away, because he does this with all of his fucking movies.
You're releasing it on Netflix. They're going to let you release your version regardless.
I get it in theaters. When you're like, BVS Ultimate Edition, you're like, okay, it's a bit long.
Studio didn't want that out in theaters.
This is Netflix. People are going to fucking watch it.
Just put your full dick and balls into the first fucking release and put it out in fucking streaming. Like, just let us watch it. This is just the biggest heap of bullshit. And this is coming from someone that didn't even hate the first movie that much. It was marketed to me as Zack Snyder's Star Wars films, which
not even fucking close.
These characters aren't likable to be in a fucking TV commercial. They're dog shit. Anyway, like I said, Sofia Boutella, like you in Kingsman, don't act. Ever. Ed Skrein, you're bald. That's cool. Leave. Jumon Hansu, you are so good in everything you've been in.
For sure.
You deserve better. As a white man, I'm so sorry that you're just getting done dirty by Hollywood. Ray Fisher, dude, you know what? This is about your pay grade. You could do better, though. Anyway, I watched this movie in bits and pieces. I didn't sit down and watch this through one concise, sit down, because I don't think I could have stomached that. I watched this a little bit on the treadmill on my phone. I watched this while folding laundry in 5-minute chunks. I kept it running while I went and showered and then came out of the shower and watched a little bit of it. And it seemed, at best, fine. But when I sat down for too long watching it, and it was just infecting my corneas and just staining my irises, I was like, holy fuck, I'm getting cancer. This is not a good time. It's so boring, bland, dull, gray, dumb as fuck. Just so generic, formulaic, cliche, bullshit. Not fun. Can't stand it. They tried to have lightsabers that were not lightsabers, that were kind of katanas. There's characters that just, the dialogue is bullshit. They just say things that an 8-year-old would write down in a notebook that would be like, this would be a cool comeback if my bully ever pushed me too hard. It's just bullshit that doesn't make sense. Doesn't matter. Charlie Hunnam, you're better than this. Everyone in this movie is better than this. Unless you're Sofia Boutella, I don't think you can act. Anthony Hopkins, what the fuck are you doing as a robot?
I really hope Zack Snyder doesn't do a James Cameron and dedicate so many years of his life to this franchise.
It'd be such a waste.
I know he's talked about wanting to do more.
Zack Snyder, Dawn of Dead, great. Man of Steel, great. Sucker Punch gave me
bonus.
Watchmen, awesome.
Yeah.
The director's cut of Watchmen. Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition, I love. Love that movie. Zack Snyder, you
can do better.
Mistaken
please
if you think that this is quality. This is dog shit. And I will never watch your extended cut because you did not prove to me at all in this, I don't want to say theatrical cut because it wasn't really a theatrical cut, but your original cut, you did not prove anything to me that this is worth seeing a longer version. 50 fucking 90% of this movie is slow-mo. If you cut that out, it's maybe an hour and 10 minutes.
It's like a short film, man.
It's a short film that he's just like, I did not write enough for each character. Slow it down. Slow it down. Half speed. Quarter speed. 10th of a speed. Fucking pause it at parts. Drop the wheat, motherfuckers. It's not fun. I will say the design of some of the stuff is cool. That is my only positive I have. The design looks kind of cool. The aesthetic. The CGI is dog shit. The acting is wooden, mostly because I'm guessing they're coming off of a very wooden basic script that is formulaic, cliche, and trope-filled, unoriginal, schlocky bullshit.
Yeah. The only positives I'll say is just like some aspects of the world I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, in a better director and writer's hands, like this could be kind of interesting. But they don't do anything with it, and it sucks. And I don't think I will ever watch the extended cuts because I've heard that they don't even add that much to it. So
I think if you wanted to go in to approach watching these extended cuts, you couldn't even use liquor as a vice to help you through. You'd need morphine, heroin, crack, cocaine, anything,
all of it.
Because these movies are fucking paralysis demons. Like, they are sleep paralysis demons in the corner of your room staring at you as you have to look at them. And they're just sitting there just fucking toying with you. They are not fun to watch. They are. I remember I watched it because I was like, oh, it's the next big Netflix release.
It's the water
cooler film.
Same fucking thing. Top 10 on Netflix this week.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, I gotta watch this.
Fine, fuck it. I'll watch it. It's made by Zack Snyder. I like most of his work. I'll sit down and watch this. This is just the biggest fucking railroad spike colonoscopy you could get. It is not good. Don't watch it. If you're like, you know what? I'm too happy right now. My life is going too good. Maybe watch this, bring yourself down a little bit. Or, you know what? You need that last little oomph to get you over the hill and kill yourself? Maybe watch this. I'm not condoning suicide, I should say. But if you're there, watch Rebel Moon. It'll get you there. Anyway, moving on. As we probably should.
Moving on to saying goodbye. All right. Sure.
Wow, this got off the rails a little bit. This
fun.
episode.
I think this is going to be our longest episode.
Oh, definitely.
Somehow.
That's fine. It's fine.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, it is. So we're recording this on December 21st. We're releasing this on December 22nd. We're not going to talk to you guys until December, whatever the fuck, 29th probably. Post Nosferatu. But anyways, have a good holiday. Whatever you believe in, whatever you celebrate around this time, spend it with your family. Have a good time. Don't kill yourself, maybe. Don't watch Rebel Moon, also. Watch Jingle All the Way. Watch Christmas Vacation. Yeah. It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life.
Watch The Night Before. Have a laugh.
It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life. Don't kill yourself. Watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Watch Krampus.
Watch Krampus. Watch Elf, if you agree with me and not Corey. But again, spend this time with the people that matter most to you. This is kind of the best time that we get allotted to us with our loved ones near us. So thank you for sitting down with us, having some drinks with us. I hope you have a couple of drinks in you because some of the shit that we've said this episode kind of got a little wild there, a little hairy. This was our 8th, I think, episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram for more dog shit movie reviews that no one reads that I post every other day. And movie reviews, news, and subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, wherever the fuck you get podcasts. We're probably there, hopefully. I don't know. I'm paying a decent amount just so we can get some distribution. In the world of film, it's not just about what happens on screen, but also about who's sitting next to you in the theater. From Corey and I, Merry Christmas. Love you fuckers. That's a wrap.